It was funny. The other day I was looking at Facebook. Testizzle posted something about his boy Q, who was, I guess, an on-point brother, and he was basically stating how he has no time for the pre-made family situation. Which, I mean, in reality, most dudes over 30 trying to find a chick, if you on that pro-black stuff, definitely, they ain't got no kids, you're SOL. But it is what it is. But he was just voicing his opinion or his feelings on the whole situation with the pre-made family, which is the norm. If 70% of women have children out of wedlock, within only the black community, then you look at as a whole in the country, it's like at 40 something percent. Almost half the women have children already out of wedlock or have babies. Then you don't even include women who are divorced as well. So it's the pickings are pretty slim. But anywho, he was talking about, discussed that I guess that Facebook feed got like 400 comments so far, and some women saying like I can respect it. Of course, some women getting butt hurt and redefining their rejection because females can't do rejection, so they redefine their rejection and they make it about you in the form of an hominem attack. But I'm gonna read this article real quick because it's on point, on topic. Let's see. So the brother there, I guess it says by the relationship guy, but the article is written by the brother you see up top. African dude, that's his name is Kalan Delang. He's a columnist. He says, South African columnist Kalan wrote a column revealing that men between the ages of 18 and 35 will not marry a woman with children, even if he has children of his own. Delane wrote, now before you cut off my head, I know there are some guys who have married women who have children with other men. Sometimes women with children not from just one man. Interestingly, women will marry a guy with as many children from as many different women as Steve Hoffermer. He continued, the hypocrisy of the whole situation is that women don't have the problem that men have. They will marry a guy with a child without much pause. Yes, I am aware of the generalization I am making. Women are more likely to have no problem with marrying a guy with kids. Well, here's the thing. I don't think that's hypocrisy. I think it's a reality that men and women want different things from one another. Next, you have to realize that when women have children, normally they're going to be in the picture because you're going to have to live with them. More often than not, when men have children from previous relationships, the kids don't live there. I'm pretty sure that has something to do with it. Maybe. But it's not a double standard. It's just that men and women want different things from one another. And there are a lot of women who have kids, who don't want men who have kids because they understand that that guy's time and attention will be divided. And even though they have kids of their own, and their time and attention is also divided, which is brings me to my point, is the number one reason why a lot of men reject females with children is because you'll always be number two. Now, I posted that in Testizzle's feed. Of course, some female hits you with the kumbaya, kittens, puppies, and rainbows. A woman would never put her kids before a man, and this, and that. And I'm like, nah, you're better off doing that. And you're better off just not dating until your children get old enough for you to date. That's just my opinion, because it's difficult. A lot of drama involved. But I talked about that in my dating breeder single mother. I didn't go in deep as I wanted to, but we don't look at the problem that children have with this situation. Not bonding with the step parent. If you have another kid, the favoritism or how the kid feels left out, all those situations occur when you get involved in those relationships while you still have small children. So sometimes it is better to just wait until they get old enough to get out the house or get out your hair, and then you can do your thing. Delane says his column was inspired by a Facebook status he posted that asked women how do they feel about a guy who won't marry them because they have a child by another man. I did not anticipate the debate that will go on the page. Dog, this is like anybody on Facebook can write this status and it will go on forever. It won't even stop. So him saying that he didn't know that this would be an issue is silly and very naive of this brother. Come on, talking about single mothers and men who don't want to date them, that's like, what do you call that? I don't know. I guess it's blasphemous, you can call it. Here we go. He says, Facebook status posting how he felt because they have a child by another man. I did not anticipate a debate that would go on the page. Dan wrote, men were in general in agreement that they were unlikely to marry a woman with a child. The women were horrified. Delane indicated that widows are exceptions to the rule because there is compensation with the man. No, there is no competition with the man. Widows and the other hand are different story, which is true. Widows sometimes divorce, not most of the time, sometimes divorce women, and widows definitely get a pass because, it is what it is. But divorced women are starting to not get a pass because they're divorced women in some cases. Widows, on the other hand, are different story. A lot of guys will consider marrying one woman because the woman won't have two men in her life to deal with. There will be no politics with the father. There will just be a child, and that's one's one-on-one now. The issue is never really about the child. It's about the father, who is still roommates with the streets, he wrote. Delane continued to write that this issue is not with the child itself. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, it is. The issue is not with the men. It's with the men not wanting to compete with other men. There are a lot of egos involved. Logic does not apply to ego. The ego has its own rules. The ego wants what it wants, whenever it wants, and it wants it when it wants it, whenever it wants it, and that's what he wrote. Delane offered a suggestion to women, since women are the ones who are often left the burden of responsibility of raising a child. I think that women should be extra vigilant about who she gets into her pants with no rubbers. That absolutely makes too much sense, and it went over their head, and it does not apply. I'll say that again. Since women are the ones who are often left with the burden of responsibility of raising a child, I think that women should be more extra vigilant, not just vigilant, but just extra vigilant about who she lets in her pants with no rubber, no plan B, no contraceptive, no vasectomies, no tubes tied. You need to do a better job of deciding who gets pregnant, because you're the one that's going to be left with the situation, even if there's a financial contribution from the father, even if he's selling a kid's life. That still doesn't guarantee that you can move on and become married. Oh, never mind. So men, would you marry a woman who has children by another man who is still alive, why or not? I think, like, the concept of the stepfather used to be like an honorable thing to do back in the day. Like, if a dude, especially if a chick was a widow, something happened to her, a guy who's not doing nothing much, but he's got his stuff together and he's got a job and he can provide. He's like, you know what, I'm not doing nothing. That woman looks like she's working hard, she's handling her business, she's a good woman. I don't mind stepping in. But those days are gone. Okay, a lot of these guys are looking at chicks that, especially when they look at, they live in a small community or a hood, whatever, and they see the chicks that they used to sweat and put on pedestals and, treat them like they was queens on some 40-year-old virgin stuff. And then these chicks deny them. And then, like, 20 years later, you're done with college, you're out of high school, you both entering your careers. She got like 4.25 kids by 4.3 white dudes. And she's like, yo, what's up? And I think a lot of dudes is like, hey, you could have had me back then, but now it's too late. So I think a lot of dudes resent that, first of all. And then a lot of dudes realize that a lot of these females, if they didn't have kids, they wouldn't be with them. So that whole honor code thing that it used to be, where dudes would just look up to that and want to be a part of that, those days are over. Especially if the dude has his stuff together, he knows, like J. Cole said, now that I'm on, I got itch to lose, I can pick and choose. So when you get on, you do have more options, and pre-made families aren't not that option. You heard me the first time. She said it beautifully. What she said is not natural for a man to want to plant a seed after another man's harvest. Now, to me, the whole ex dude thing and being in the picture, it does matter, but I think it's a lot more than that. It is the kid. When it comes to disciplining that kid, when it comes to making decisions for the family, and you got to worry about XYZ. I see situations too where, say the baby mom is cool with, say she has a kid by a dude and he has kids by other women, but she's cool with the other female, which is good, you think. But you sign up to kick it with this chick, and she's got a kid, but like every other weekend, she's got like 4 or 5. All his other baby mamas are letting her babysit. Again, in hindsight, that's cool that these women can be good together and not be on some ratchet stuff. But it's bad for the dude who thinking like, damn, I thought I signed up for one kid, yet you got this kid's brothers and sisters. So, the reality is two is like, you'll always be number two, and in some cases 3, 4, 5, whatever. That's crazy, but I mean, as a dude, if I had a kid, my daughter would be my first priority, or my son would be my first priority. The female would come after her, and that's not something I know most females will be comfortable doing, because they like attention too. So, and it goes both ways. A kid's a mother, and especially when a kid is young and they're bonding in those years, it's hard to squeeze in a person, a guy. And that's like having he becomes the addition. Like, you have a family, it's a father and a mother and a bit. The kid comes later, and that's the addition to the family. But in this situation, it's more like you got the kid and the mom, and then you're the addition, and everything is placated on her terms. If the kid is sick, if the kid needs to go do something or leave or whatever, if you want to go fly out of town for the weekend, like, all those things are subject to her. Now, if you sign up for that from the get-go, you understand that. But a lot of dudes get in that situation not thinking like, damn, it's not as easy to deal with. It's not easy to do. That's why I say it makes some sense for some women to just wait until their kids are 18 or 17 or whatever when they leave, and you don't have to worry about that responsibility. Then you got the situation with some of these, like, with men, when the boy gets a little bit older and he starts to smell himself and he wants to start checking you. Then you got to worry about, did she allow you to discipline? And I'm going to talk about another article. I don't know if I want to add it to this or do it separately, but there was a thing where a female was calling and talking about she's engaged or she's married, but her husband is not the father of her kid, but she doesn't want him disciplining her child. So those are a type of situation that are come up, where it's like, first of all, okay, you're doing the whole family thing, you're the head of the household, you're the man, blah blah blah, but she trusts your judgment enough to marry you, but she doesn't trust you enough to discipline her children because you don't have any of your own. And she's thinking like, well, when we have a kid, you might be nicer or be less strict, which I'm gonna be honest, that will definitely probably happen. You're not gonna, especially when the kid's a baby and it's younger ones get away with stuff, so that will be an issue. And that's one of the issues that does occur when there's a blended family thing going on, where there's another kid and I noticed that with one of my boys, he had married a chick with 2 kids. I'm guessing they're separated now, I don't know. But he married a chick with 2 kids, and then like every time he'd be on Xbox Live, that's how we communicated, kept in touch. He would be like yelling at the boy because the boy would be doing some stupid stuff or bothering his sister. And then I'm like, when you hear him talk to his sons, like, they're babies still, but he's all like googly goggly, daddy loves you, blah blah blah. But every time he talks to the other dude, he's just like, go to your room, stop being bad, leave your sister alone. So it's like, I think love is an act of the will. So I'm not saying you can't love someone else's child like your own, but I'm just saying most people are not going to do that because they don't choose to. And it's going to be some form of favoritism. One good show that shows you that is the show Read Between the Lines, where I guess it's Diana Ross's daughter and Theo Huxtable, whatever. A lot of people didn't like that show, but in that show it was illustrated that he was treating his younger daughter better than the other 2 kids that weren't his. Even though he was a good father figure and all that nonsense, he still showed favoritism. Part of it was because he was younger, and obviously part of it because it's yours. It's you have that bond with that child because it biologically belongs to you. But anyways, that's this part of the video. Most dudes between the ages of 18 and 35 ain't about that life. You even look at the statistics of a dude who has a baby by a girl, is a 16% chance that they're not going to even get married. So how do you expect a dude to marry a chick that's not his kid to marry the woman, when most dudes who get pregnant or they have a baby together before marriage, the chances of him marrying her is like 16%. And it's allegedly in the black community, so it's probably not as bad everywhere else, but it's not a good chance that you're gonna get married if you have a kid first, period. So how do you expect some outsider to marry you when you have a kid from somebody else? That's just it is what it is. So ladies, you need to do a better job of deciding who you get knocked up by, because there's a chance that you will never be married if you do this.
Please.
Hey, mister.
What's up, little man?
Are you just trying to get something from my mom?
Oh, snap. Nah, little man. Actually, what I'm trying...
Give me a dime and I'll leave you alone.